Hello everyone. So, welcome to this lecture. So, this is like the farewell lecture. So, I have formally finished the course. So, just a quick summary regarding what we have learnt in this course. So, the fundamental problem that we have addressed in this course is that of secure communication, where the problem statement is the following. We have two unknown parties who do not have any pre-shared information, say Sita and Ram meeting for the first time, connected by a publicly known channel, and their goal is basically to apply some algorithms and get an effect of a virtual secure channel over this publicly known channel, and this virtual secure channel should ensure that this Sita and Ram are talking to each other in a secure manner. And when I say secure, that means I need to satisfy three properties, namely privacy, integrity and authentication. And we have seen a two-stage solution to solve this problem. In stage 1, we solved the key agreement problem using public key cryptography, where the goal of Sita and Ram is to agree upon a common key, and to do that we use number theoretic hard problems and public key encryption. And once the key is agreed upon, then in the stage 2 the Sita and Ram performs authenticated and private communication using private key cryptography or symmetric key cryptography, and for that we have introduced several building blocks like pseudo random generator, pseudo random function, pseudo random permutation and strong pseudo random permutation. We have seen various attack models both for stage 1 as well as stage 2, namely we have seen passive adversarial model, and with respect to passive adversarial model we have ciphertext only attack and chosen plaintext attack, whereas for a malicious or active adversary we have considered the chosen ciphertext attack model. And for each of the cryptographic primitives that we have used in stage 1 and stage 2, we have followed a rigorous 3-stage approach, namely in stage 1 we have formally defined what exactly we want to construct, what exactly is the definition of security for that given primitive, for the primitive that we are interested to construct. Once we have the formal definition, in stage 2 we give an algorithmic construction for that primitive, and once we have the algorithmic construction, in stage 3 we gave a rigorous formal security proof for the construction that we have given, and show that indeed the algorithmic construction satisfies the formal definition that we have given in stage 1. So, as I said during my first lecture, cryptography is not just about solving the problem of secure communication. In this course we just focus on secure communication, but the umbrella of cryptography covers lots of advanced topics. So, we can do many fancy things using cryptography. So, for instance, we can do secure multi-party computation, where a set of mutually distrusting parties can interact with each other and perform or carry out any kind of computation securely without revealing their data to each other. We can design special purpose encryption schemes like non-committing encryption, deniable encryption, fully homomorphic encryption, functional encryption for specialized tasks. We have a whole lot of we have an entire branch of what we call as leakage resilient cryptography, which takes into account what we call as side channel attack or side channel information. So, throughout this course, when we were analyzing or when we were formalizing the security requirement, we just considered that adversary has got access to encryption oracle or decryption oracle or some kind of oracle access to the key. But it turns out that during the practical deployment of cryptographic primitives, adversary might get other kind of information or side channel information which cannot be modeled or which were not modeled in the formal definitions that we have seen in this lecture. For instance, it might be the case that adversary get access to the power trace of the decryption algorithm. That means how much power the decryption algorithm is consuming. Then depending upon the power trace of the decryption algorithm, adversary can indeed find out what exactly is the value of the decryption key. So, that is a kind of side channel information which is not formally captured in the formal modeling that we have done in this course. So, it turns out that there we have a whole branch of cryptography dedicated into the design of side channel, dedicated into the design of cryptographic primitives taking into account this side channel information, and that branch of cryptography is called as leakage resilient cryptography. In the same way, we have another branch of cryptography called lightweight cryptography, where we study the design of cryptographic primitives for resource constrained environments like RFID, IoT, etc. So, a key bottleneck in the resource constraint environments like RFID, IoT, wireless sensor networks is that the computing speed is very, very low. And there we cannot use the typical cryptographic primitives, because typical cryptographic primitives operates with a key size of say 256 bits if we are in the symmetric key world, or 1024 bits if we are in the public key world, but we cannot perform that much heavy computation in this resource constraint environment. So, the question is, can we come up with a new set of cryptographic primitives which do not require that much amount of computation, and the branch of cryptography dedicated to the study of such cryptographic primitives is called as light cryptography. So, I hope that in the future I might be able to offer course covering some of these advanced topics. So, finally, the concluding remarks. So, first of all, this is the first time I am offering any MOOC course. So, during the during the first few lectures, it was quite inconvenient for me, because this is the first time I am doing a recording, a live recording where there are no students available in the class. So, it took some time for me to get accustomed to this setting, and I must confess that my spoken English is very bad compared to my written English. So, you always might find some linguistic errors, grammatical errors. So, kindly apologize, kindly I beg your pardon for the same. And I would also like to stress that in several lectures it so happened that there are various typos coming while recording. So, for instance, if I am supposed to say deterministic, I end up saying randomized. If I am supposed to send a variable x, I end up calling it y, and so on. So, it becomes very difficult to rectify such minor issues by re-recording it. So, I am not doing that, but I hope that depending upon the context it will be clear that they are just typos, and I hope that during the transcription process when these lectures are transcribed, those typos get rectified. And I would like to put some acknowledgements here. So, I would like to dedicate this course to key people who have contributed in my academic development. So, I would like to first dedicate this course to the first set of gurus that who have actually sowed the seed of theoretical computer science and abstract thinking in me during my student days. So, they are Professor Kamla Krithivasan, my MS supervisor, who taught me automata theory, Professor C. Pandurangan, who was my PhD supervisor, who taught me algorithms and cryptography, and Professor S. A. Chaudham, who taught me graph theory. So, these people played a tremendous role in my academic development. I would also like to acknowledge Professor Palash Sarkar and Professor Nigel Smart, who were my postdoctoral supervisors. I learnt a lot from them, and what I find amazing about them is that even though by training they are theoretician, I am simply amazed by the level of practical knowledge about cryptography, about the applied concepts that they have. And I am also super amazed by their efficiency, how efficiently they handle even any kind of complicated task. And last but not the least, I would like to acknowledge the authors of this wonderful book, Introduction to Modern Cryptography, by Jonathan Katz and Yehuda Lindell. So, the cryptography, the way I know and I have taught in this course, is completely because of this wonderful text. Even though I have read several texts on cryptography, I can confidently say that the ease and the convenience with which even a highly complex topic is explained in this book, I could never find in any other textbooks. So, as I said during my first lecture, I strongly recommend anyone who want to do research or learn cryptography to buy a personal copy of this book and have it in their bookshelf. And finally, some shameless advertisement from my side. So, I am always looking for full-time motivated MS and PhD research scholars who want to work in cryptography, and if you are interested, you should apply in response to the advertisement for MS and PhD positions published at IIITV website. This is the website, and we have admissions happening twice a year. And please do not write to me for research assistant, internship or project positions. I am only interested in MS and PhD research scholars. So, you should apply against the advertisement, and if I find your application interesting, then indeed you will be called for the written test and interview and so on. With that, I end this course. I really enjoyed teaching this course, and I hope to meet you sometime in the near future with another course on cryptography. Thank you. Bye bye. Jai Hind.